All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. I'm excited to have you here today. We're talking about some findings that we have on AI and the workplace and what women are experiencing in AI. If you haven't been here before, this is an undeniable session. And with Get Her Hired, we're on a mission to help 10,000 women, femmes, and cool men land their next boss roles. And we're so excited to be here with you. So, what we're going to do today is just talk through some of the results that we've seen. And I know there's a few of you online right now. Thank you. And a lot of people will be looking at this later from our YouTube channel. So, there's going to be more people looking at this later, and we're welcoming your questions. If you've got any questions along the way, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll make sure to address them as we go. This is being recorded. We're going to send this to you tomorrow. We're also going to send you any of the tools and things that we go through today. So I want to let you know that I launched this quiz on Will AI Eat Your Job about 10 days ago. And it just has 10 questions in it. It takes 3 to 4 minutes to complete it. And it does something that most AI conversations are not doing. It scores your actual week instead of your job title. So a lot of AI reviews out there look at your job title and decide if you are, let me make sure. Okay, sorry. They decide if your role is AI proof or not, but that's not what it is. What we are looking at here is what you actually do Monday through Friday and how much of that work a machine can do right now. Okay, so the quiz measures three things AI does not judge. It measures the judgment that you make without having a playbook. Okay, that's one measure. It measures the influence over the people you have who don't report to you. And then decisions where being wrong costs real money. All right. These are how we're scoring how AI proof or not someone's job is. So in the last 10 days, we had 37 women take this quiz. I actually just since yesterday had 10 additional people come into the quiz, and there will be more. I'm hoping to get over 100 responses, but I wanted to share the results with you. But as we keep going, I want to show you the data. I want to show you the 4 different profiles someone might have or be experiencing with AI in their work that they may not be aware of. And then also some Q&A and talk about how this might be affecting you and what you can do about it. I want to let you know why this matters so much. And the reason is that decisions about AI and your role are already being made on someone else's spreadsheet. Okay, so this is something someone else is already looking at for you, unless you're the CEO of your company. Someone else is looking at AI and your role right now. And in this hour, what I want to do is give you some way to make sure that you're measured and your work is measured correctly by yourself before someone else measures you in their own way. Okay. So, question out there. If you haven't taken the quiz, I've got it up here right now. You can take it again later, share it with a friend, and Jonathan will make sure to get this in the chat so that you can all take the quiz if you haven't yet. As we go forward, I wanted to see what you all thought. So who's ever on the call here, if you want to put into the chat, before you see a single number that we've got, or really read through the people types that we are going to be talking through, do you think the role that you have today is safe from AI or not? Okay. Do you think your role is safe from AI or not? And I want you to put that in the chat. It's anonymous, just so you know. We are not sharing names. You can't see anyone else's names. So go ahead and put into the chat, do you think your role is safe or not safe. And we'll come back to this in a minute. But something we mean by this is that we want people to start thinking about the safety in their role. That means that, do you believe that the role you hold today, the actual work you do every week, would score AI proof? Or do you suspect that some of your work, some of your week is on the menu that for AI to take over and eat? Okay. So let's see. We've got a couple people. Well, let me go back. Hang on. Oh my gosh. Hold on, guys. You can see I haven't done a PowerPoint in a while. Okay. Okay, let's see. There's some people who say pretty safe, kind of safe, yes and no, not safe. Okay. Thank you for answering that. I appreciate your candor there. Um, you know, not, typing in both was not an option, but I love that because it's really hard to know, depending on who's looking at our work, if we're safe or not. And so that's one of the things that we want to talk through today. We'll come back to this because we want to make sure that you can clearly see it for yourself. Okay. So as you're in this, can you clearly see where you belong or not in this? Okay. All right. So getting back over here, getting to my slides. Okay. So let's talk about who took the quiz so far. Again, we've had about, let me tell you the methodology about this quiz. I respect you all too much to skip the methodology so you can understand a little behind it. This is self-reported. It ran for the last 10 days. It's a live data set, which means it literally grew overnight. And again, I had 12 responses come in yesterday. I've had 10 more come in today. So this is still working. And some of you in the room today are probably in these numbers. And some of you know someone who should be in these numbers because I want to get this higher. So out of who answered, we had about 11 directors, 5 senior directors, 4 VPs, 5 women at the SVP or C-suite level, 5 founders who own their own shops, and 7 women climbing toward the director role. And we had people across 9 different functions take the quiz. So that included marketing and comms, tech and product, strategy, HR, ops, sales, finance, and customer experience. And I'm telling you this because most AI jobs data is labor and statistics about roles you don't have. Okay. So when you're seeing data out there in the marketplace, this is typically not about your types of roles. What they're talking about usually in those big market reports is call centers, data entry, junior analysts. Okay. This data set is at your peer group. Okay. What we're looking at here is your level describing one of your weeks. Okay. Not a data entry call center specialist. Okay. This is your work here. So when I show you a number, it isn't about the economy. It's about in the woman who's here in the Zoom with you today. Okay. So it's not about the broad economy. It's your peer network. It could be the women that are next to you on the org chart, the box next to you in the org chart at your company. And we're going to be adding to this after the call. I'm going to ask you all, if you're here, to please share this with other women that need to see this. So 37 women came in, 81% at that director level. We've had the biggest 9 functions, and then 12 came in yesterday alone. Okay, so this slide tells you all of that already. Sorry guys, let me keep going. So where these people landed when they took the quiz, we had 9 women come in at AI adjacent, and I'll define this a little bit more. Wait, let me go up. I think I missed one of the ones. Okay. The most people who came in to this scored as AI partner. And what this means is that AI is already inside your workflow. Okay. You brief it, you edit it, you give it, you edit what it gives you, and you ship out the result. The core of your week is defensible. The edge of your week is automatable. Okay. So most of your week is yours. There's judgment, there's influence, there's decision making, right? But then there's parts of your week that could be automated. And this edge that's there is a little wider than you may think. And if you had gotten this result when you took the quiz, you're in the biggest room in the house. Okay. And you were spending a lot of time on this group later. So if you got AI partner, you're not alone, and we'll be talking about this soon. We had 24% of the people take the quiz score AI adjacent, meaning that there's a lot of judgment in their week, but it's wrapped in a thick layer of execution. And that layer is what everyone else sees. So people skip level, people, your manager, others across departments may not see the judgment in your week. They're only going to see the execution in your week. So essentially what's happening is you make the call and then you spend 3 days producing artifacts around the call. Okay. So if you're producing artifacts around a project, around a topic, etc., that is something that is going to be a place where AI could come in and make some more automation. We had 11% of people score AI proof, where most of their week is work that AI cannot do. So that's judgment without having a playbook. That's moving humans that don't have to listen to you. Calls where being wrong costs real money. We only had 4 women score in this area. That's it. And then because our audience is a little more elevated in their role types, so normally we're looking at director level and above, we had someone score AI vulnerable here. And what that means is that what they do could be very easily replaced by automation. They're reporting, they're summarizing, they're formatting a deliverable. The output is the job. And she's going to need some more help to think about how to position herself in the future. So here's the headline I want you to really understand here. Only 1 in 9 of the most senior women who took this scored AI proof, which means that 9 in 10 women who took this, your peers, have AI sitting somewhere within their week, not in their industry, not in their company, but in their week, okay, in how they work. I am going to pause a moment here because I can see I have some, oh my gosh, hang on. I have some love notes I have to take a look at. So let me pause a moment and make sure I've got any questions covered here. One second, guys. This is really a fun webinar for us to be doing today, really, because part of this, we haven't done this before in sharing these types of results. And this is a big deal. This is kind of new information. It's really new to the marketplace, and we want to be ahead of it to help women. And so I know I'm like not really super slick and practiced here, but we don't have time to get slick and practiced. We need to just share this information. And to my team there on the back end, you should have the access you need now to ask any questions. So my team that's here today, we've got Cecilia Stanton-Adams, we have Jonathan Briones, and we have Lourdes Hernandez-Dayton from the Get Her Hired team. And they're here in the background to monitor the chat, answer any questions, etc. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, and they'll be able to triage them for us here today. Okay. So let me go see if I can go back to where I was. Oh my goodness. I'm so bad at, I'm just not going to worry about it. Guys, I'm just not going to worry about it. Okay. So let's talk about this. Nope, I need the next slide. Okay. What I want you to know is that worry is not a measurement. And I want to talk about some of the definitions here because the whole finding of this quiz lives in the gap between these two definitions. There is a perceived risk, which is what your gut says. Okay. This is when we go back to the answers you shared back when I said, do you think your role is at risk or not? There was kind of this yes, no, maybe, I'm not sure, no. And so there's a perceived risk. And there's a scored exposure in what your week says. And so the quiz only measures the second one, which is your scored exposure. Your gut measured it though anyway in how you replied yes, no. So, right, what I mean by this is we want to look at what your work, what the data, I'm always going back to data. What does the data tell us about how vulnerable you are and how do you personally feel about it? And we've only measured the data, not how you feel about it yet. So that'll be coming after we find out a little bit more. In the responses we got, 15 of 37 women picked the most confident answer that we offered, that they're not worried. My work has too many humans in it. I love that sentence. The scoring, though, loved it less because of those 15 women, exactly 2 scored AI proof. Okay, so there's a disconnect here. We think we're not worried. Our gut is saying, I'm not worried. But then when we look at the data of what your week looks like, you're not AI proof. And so there's this discrepancy. And before anyone feels smug about this, it cut the other way too, because 4 women picked worried. I can't tell if I'm being dramatic. All right. And one of those 4 scored AI proof. So our gut and the data are telling us 2 different things, and it keeps us kind of in that turmoil, dysregulation in ourselves about this. And so hopefully we can cure that a little bit today. About 30% of the people who came to take our quiz said that they came to find out if they should be worried. That's a pretty honest answer. I'm not sure. Should I be worried? And quietly, these the smartest people in the room, because they treated this as a measurement question rather than a feelings question. And I shouldn't say smarter. It's just, a different way of looking at it. But here's what this gap can cost us between overconfidence and the data. All right. It matters in both directions. Overconfidence costs us preparation. So if we feel like our roles are not vulnerable, or overconfident perhaps that our roles are not vulnerable, we don't take the time to position our work differently, right? We believe our work is safe. And catastrophizing. So if we think we're totally vulnerable, this is just terrible. It costs us our posture and how people perceive us. All right. You're not negotiating well. You're not leading well because you're bracing for a layoff that isn't coming. And both are expensive positions to hold. And neither one is the data, though. Okay. So your gut is reading your calendar and your anxiety. So if you said you were AI proof or not, you're safe or you're not safe, you're looking at your calendar and you're looking at your anxiety. It's not reading your exposure. And this is why we needed this as an instrument rather than a feeling. So let's keep going. Were there any questions that came in yet? Not yet? Okay. So our findings really explain this whole distribution. So stay with me. I know this is nerdy, a lot of data. We gave women 4 sentences and asked them to pick the one that closest described their actual week. 78% of people, 78% selected, I'm a strategist who also produces, about a 60-40 split. So nearly 8 in 10 of you described your week the same way. So let me talk a little bit about what the split means, because this is where everything happens. The 60% is judgment, direction, and the authority that you have. Okay. If 60% of your work is strategy, it's the call you made in Tuesday's meeting that got killed as a bad idea before it cost anyone the quarter. It's reading which stakeholder is about to go sideways. And there's a supporting number here too. 57% of you said that most of your week is judgment calls without a written down right answer. And that's really good news. And we're going to use that to help you secure yourself in the future. So the 60-40 split, 60 is strategic, 40 being kind of that execution side. So that 40% of your week is production. This is where AI can come in, all right? And let's just talk about this for a minute. It's that beautiful deck that you made on Wednesday explaining Tuesday's decision. It's the campaign, the report, the summary. And here's the uncomfortable part. Guess which half has your name on it on the shared drive? So if you think about the decision-making and the strategy and the judgment isn't documented with your name on it. What's documented is the report on the shared drive, and that is a production piece of your work, okay? So AI can take that 40% of your work away in some way because there's an automation that can make it faster that will allow you to do more strategy, right? The reason why that can happen is because that 40% of your work is documented, it's templated, it's full of examples that a model can learn from. I do this myself. We're using models, I'm building agents all the time. And so if your judgment isn't written down anywhere, it is something that AI can take on. And so when your judgment isn't written down, it's protection, but it's also a problem. And the problem is finding the problem is finding it there. So say this sentence with me, because there's finally data underneath it, okay? The work that you are best known for is the first thing AI replaces. I'm gonna pause on that. So the work you're best known for is the first thing AI replaces. Think about your work that you're doing right now and how much of that is only shown or known through the production of a document of some type. And what we need to do something a little bit differently so that people know what judgment, what ideas and thought leadership go into the decisions behind this. Okay, so this is kind of where we're going with this. And I don't know if there's any questions here or if I'm just scaring the bejeebers out of people, but you know what? It's okay because we're gonna get to action on this. Here's the next finding. We asked women to pick the closest read on their own work, and about 41%, that's 15 out of 37 people picked this, that they are the connective tissue. People feel my work, but may not name it. For contrast to that, only 11 women or 30% said, I lead the room and people know what I do. Okay. I lead the room and people know what I do. So I want you to look at this again, and let's look at two definitions here because the internet tries to mush these together. All right. Visibility is being seen. Legibility is being nameable. Right. I'll say that again. Visibility is being seen. Legibility is being nameable, and visibility is your name on the town hall agenda. Okay. Legibility is your VP being able to finish the sentence out loud. Okay. Can your VP finish the sentence out loud about you. She's the one who decided ... If the sentence dies right after she's the one who, you don't have a visibility problem, you have a legibility problem. And no amount of posting on LinkedIn will fix that. And so someone maybe type it into the chat right now. I'm not sure. So let me just say this, that visibility alone does not fix your AI vulnerability. So visibility does not fix your vulnerability. Being seen doing automatable work just means that more people get to watch it be automated. And that might be a little harsh, but I just want you to know that that's why visibility alone is not the solution. Legibility is the thing. And I want to just talk about that a little bit more. If you've ever been through a reorg, and I know there's some people on this call that have, reorgs run on spreadsheets, and spreadsheets only hold things that people can name. Promotion cases run on sentences someone else can repeat in the room you're not in. And a resume, which is our corner of this at Get Her Hired, a resume can only argue with work that has a name, a decision, and a result attached to it. Okay. So 41% of you told us that your work doesn't have that yet. And that's what the entire second hour of this session is going to be devoted to. So we can figure out a way to do this. So I've got, I think, one final finding here. I don't know if I'm going too quickly or if there's questions, please let me know. Okay. Your title is not a moat. Okay. There's two stats in 1 point, and the first one is going to sting a little bit here. All 5 SVP and C-suite women in this data set scored AI partner. 0 scored AI proof, okay? And before anyone hears that as an insult to the C-suite, it's not, it's structural, okay? At that altitude, if you're at the C level or SVP level, your calendar fills up with reviewing, synthesizing, and editing what comes to you. And reviewing and synthesizing is precisely what AI is really good at. And it is precisely what that AI partner means. So your title might go up, but your exposure to AI vulnerability might come right along with it. I know that might seem counterintuitive, but it's true. So the second stat we asked people was, what do you do when AI shows up in your workflow? And the answers stacked into a ladder. On the bottom rung, about 5% of people use the tools someone else built. The middle rung, 62%, brief the AI and edits the output. And the top rung, or 24%, decides what they should be building in the first place. And the remaining 8% of respondents are still figuring out where AI fits, which is at least honest, right? They're not sure how it fits. But let's look at that middle rung a little bit more, all right? And this is where most everyone is standing. At that 62% that briefs and edits the output from AI. And I have 2 pieces of news about this. It's crowded, right? There's a lot of people briefing and editing the AI. And editing AI output is itself starting to get automated, believe it or not, because the models are now reviewing other models. I know this because I've done it. So the middle rung is not load bearing, okay? And there's one more number here while we're being honest with each other. Oops, I forwarded my slide. One moment, please. Let me go back. Where did I go? Okay. One more thing. 49% of you said that when you get something wrong at work, the consequence is redo the work and lose some time. That's it. And that's the whole downside. And I need you to understand how a CFO reads that sentence. Okay. Because cheap errors are exactly where companies trust AI first. All right. So if a machine gets it wrong, the cost is an afternoon, not a lawsuit. So thinking about that, want you to think about that too. So again, your title is not a moat. You're not safe because you've got a higher title. What really matters more is, are you deciding what tools get built? Are you just using the tools, or are you briefing and editing the output? So the good news is this ladder is climbable, and we're going to move into that. So let's take a deep breath here. And I want to see if we had any questions come in yet on this information. I'm not seeing any. Okay. I'm going to keep going. So let's talk about the scores. And I don't know if everyone on here has already taken this or not, but we're going to get into the 4 different profiles, what each one means, and what your resume, how your resume could look before and after. But there's a lot more than just your resume in it. We are the resume experts. However, I want you to think about these things and how you're showing up at work and how you're talking about your work when you're with other people. So the first type of profile here, we're going to talk a little bit about what it means, why it matters, what we're going to do about it, including the before and after here. And these are real patterns from real documents that I read every single week. Okay. The after is the real woman's information repositioned. And watch what changes, and it's not just the font. Okay. It's not the font that's changing. Okay. So for a person that scores AI vulnerable, and again, we only had one person score in this area. Most of their work is a repeatable workflow, formatting and reporting. The output is the job, and the output is exactly what AI does well. One woman scored here, and I'm sure that we're going to get more as we get more people answering this question. And I want to kill a myth here immediately that vulnerable does not mean junior. Director level women run reporting empires. All right. Entire careers have been built on being the person whose deliverables are always immaculate and on time. All right. Just know that. And why this matters is because these roles do not get eliminated with an announcement and a meeting. They get eliminated by line item. So if you are someone who's AI vulnerable, you're going to be eliminated by line item during a budget season by someone comparing the cost of a salary to the cost of an AI license. Look at this before card here, produced weekly performance reports and executive summaries for senior leadership. And I'm sure that many people out here might have a line like that on their resume. That sentence is perfectly accurate, and that's not the problem. It's accurate and replaceable at the same time. Okay. It's reading to me replaceable. Now, if you look at the after, what we're doing here is it's the same job, it's the same person, but what we're talking about is the impact that this person's work had on the on the company or the team or the project, right? Caught a margin slide 2 quarters early in the weekly numbers. Leadership reallocated $2 million before it hit the P&L. That is very different. So the anatomy here matters. And there's a catch, which is showing the judgment that you made. You made a call, there was courage, and there was a consequence with a dollar sign on it. The reports are automatable, which means they're AI replaceable, right? But the catching that margin slide is not. And the catch was the actual job that you did. That was the actual job, was using your judgment and guidance to see that that consequence there. So if you have there's some different tools we can use here. I'm trying to think. Let me see if I've got this here. One second. Nope. We've got lots of data on what to do if you feel like you're in this place. I'm not going to go into great detail on what to do if you're AI vulnerable, because it's a smaller percentage of people, but we do have ways to help people work around this. If you find yourself or if you know someone who might be in this type of position, have them reach out to us. All right. The next one I want to go through is the persona of AI adjacent. What this means is there's real judgment in your week, but it's wrapped in that thick layer of execution, that 40%, right? And it's that layer that people are most often looking at. You make the call on Monday, like I said, and then spend Tuesday through Thursday producing the artifacts about the call. And the artifacts are the things that everyone can see. Why this matters, if you're in a reorg, you get categorized by your visible layer, not by the judgment buried behind it. Okay. So let's look at this before card. Managed end-to-end campaign execution across email, paid, and social. All right. So that's what, let's read it like that again, because that's the way a spreadsheet reads it. The workflow lived here. That sentence describes a pipeline, and pipelines are exactly what AI era reorgs consolidate. They consolidate these pipelines. End-to-end campaigns are getting consolidated across across email, paid, and social. That's a place where things are getting shrunk. All right. The after card is the same campaign in the same quarter, killed a flagship campaign mid-flight and moved the budget, pipeline recovered within the quarter. Again, look at the anatomy here, because what we're saying is they made a decision, probably an unpopular one, because killing the flagship campaign takes a lot of nerve to do. Money moved, which is authority, a number that recovered, which is the receipt. All right. So decisions with consequences are part of the AI adjacent work. AI cannot take and make decisions that have consequences. We're not allowing AI to do that. And so with this becoming if you look at the after, that person's role is more like AI as a partner. So because there were more people that scored in this area, I'm going to talk for a minute about this. If you find that your role is AI adjacent, I want you to do one thing. Do a calendar audit, print the last week, and I want you to look at your calendar, print it out if you can, okay, and take two highlighters, pink and yellow, just two different colors. Let's say they're pink and yellow. I want you to highlight anything on your calendar where you use judgment, you made decisions, aligned, read the room. Okay. And then I want you to use the other color highlighter to highlight anything on your calendar where it was execution, anything a very good contractor could have done with written instructions. So anything a good contractor could have done with written instructions. And I want you to count the hours. And that's your real ratio. All right. You might want to take 2 weeks of your meetings to look through this. Again, one color is where you use judgment, made decisions. Okay. The other one is where you just executed things that a good contractor could have done with instructions. And look at the ratio of how much time was spent in one or the other area. And that's going to give you a good idea of what you can do about this. Okay. So run the audit and get that real number this week. And when you think about what it is that you're doing and how you're talking about it, stop talking about the pipeline that you're in charge of, and instead list the calls you made. So for example, I made the call to kill a flagship campaign mid-flight and moved that budget over and recovered that money within the quarter. That's far more elevated than looking at managing an end-to-end campaign. Just going to see if there's any questions coming in on this. Okay. Let's go on to the next type of persona. AI partner. So we had about 62% of people come in here where they're an AI partner. They brief the AI, they edit the output. That's most of the people in the room here today and watching probably. And you adopted early, you're getting fluent or you got fluent in AI, and that fluency felt like a safe move, and it was for a while. I mean, the fluency in AI tools is really good, but I'm going to be very blunt with you again here because you don't need me to be nice about this. Why this matters. In 2026, saying that you leveraged AI tools, I'm just going to say this. It's the new proficient in Microsoft Office. Okay. So if you are claiming that you leveraged AI tools, you're basically saying that you're proficient in Microsoft Office. Everyone says it. So it prices you just like everyone else. There is no differentiator in you if you say that you leveraged it. So look at the before card. And I see this on resumes all the time, every day. We see this. Leveraged AI tools to increase content production 3 times. Cool, 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 cool. But there's 2 problems with the sentence. The first is that it's a commodity claim. All right. Identical to probably 10,000 other resumes I've seen this quarter. The second is sneakier. It brags about producing more of the more execution. Okay. It's bragging about increased execution. And what we said 20 minutes ago in this space is that what happens to the execution work, that 60-40 split, you're accelerating yourself toward the part of your job that's going to be eliminated by AI. So let me just pull that apart one more time. If you've leveraged AI tools to increase content production 3 times, that means that great, you've increased the production of content, and you've also made your job much more vulnerable, especially by talking about it that way. All right. So let's see how we could talk about it a little differently. Because again, it's not that we said earlier, right? It's like, how are people talking about you when you're not in the room? How do people attribute decisions that you made back to you when you're not in the room? That's what we want to have people think about. So I also want to say that leveraging AI and editing AI output is itself being automated. Remember, we talked about that because we have models that review other models. I build agents and then I build agents that test my agents. Even I can do it, right? I'm, who am I to do this? But here I am, I'm doing this, right? So operator is not a destination. The opportunity is one rung up at architect. Okay. That's what I want you to be thinking about. And so, for example, I'm architecting things right now as I create agents, as I create new skills, as I create GPTs for my team and for the work that we do. Okay. So you want to be an architect of how these things are getting created so that you're not just responsible for the output, but how is that being created? So let's look at this after card for a moment here. Redesign the team's workflow around AI, cut production time 60%, and move 2 writers to strategy work I defined. Okay. This new sentence is doing 3 different jobs here. We're talking about redesigning the workflow. That's a system claim, not a usage claim. Okay. Cutting production time by 60%, that's the receipt. Okay, that's the result, the outcome. And move 2 writers to strategy work I defined. That's a headcount judgment. And headcount judgment is the most senior verb in any sentence. So if you can talk about the headcount outcomes that happen because of decisions you've made. So I want you to think about whatever you're at today. Think about it. See, I'm trying to think of an easy way to explain this. So if right now you're giving some data and instruction to an AI tool, you're briefing the AI on how to do something. I want you to think one level up. All right. What's one level up from there? So Claude projects, Claude co-work, custom GPTs, co-pilot agents. All right. The difference is building reusable systems your team runs versus chats that you run alone. Okay. So think about how you can level up what you're doing beyond just doing a chat and make it something that is a sustainable, repeatable design for your teams. Okay. So if you fall in this space, pick one team workflow that you've got on your team and redesign it end to end with AI and document every decision about where AI belongs and where it doesn't. Right. And I've got a bunch more things to share with you in that space, some ideas about that. But we don't have time to go through that today. But if anyone had a specific question on this, oh my goodness, we had a comment come in. I think it was related back to saying that you leverage AI is the new way of saying that you can use Microsoft Office. Someone said, yeah, it's really true. Everyone claims that they can leverage AI. It's okay. So it doesn't have meaning anymore, right? It's like, okay, well, we assume you can. So good for you. So let's go to one more result here. The final one that we have, which is AI proof. Okay. This means that people are working using their judgment without a playbook. They're moving humans they don't have authority over. And when they make mistakes, real money is spent. And we had 4 women score in this area in our quiz. And here's a detail I can't stop thinking about. So one of the questions I asked was, when's the last time you looked at your resume? And let me tell you this. All 4 of the women who scored AI proof, all 4 of them said that their resumes were current as of this year. I'm just going to put that out there. The one who scored vulnerable, by the way, that one, the 3% who scored vulnerable, said they hadn't touched their resume in 3 years. So just a little interesting pattern there. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence. So the women paying attention are paying attention everywhere. All right. That is the truth here that I want you to know. So why this matters though, if you scored AI proof, why this matters, your risk isn't AI, it's wallpaper. I want you to look at this before card here. All right. Responsible for cross-functional stakeholder management and strategic planning. Oh my God. How many times have I read that? How many people could that apply to? It's grammatically flawless, but it says absolutely nothing. And if your work is the most defensible work in the building, your resume should not read like it was generated by the thing that you're defensible against. So the before looks like an AI generated statement that 1,000 other people could have on their resume, right? And I just want you to know that even though we're saying this role is AI proof today, that's not to say it's not AI proof in 8 weeks or 8 months. Okay. So this could change. It's June 11th, 2026. So this could change. Moats need maintenance. All right. You may have the moat around you, but you need to maintain it. Okay. So let's look at this after card here. Aligned legal, product, and 2 GMs who don't report to me on one roadmap. The launch shipped after 2 earlier attempts stalled. So the anatomy on this is the formula. Who didn't report to you? What had already failed? And what shipped because of you? So what we've got here are the stakes. What were the stakes at hand? Plus the influence without authority. And this is one of the most defensible sentences in the business. if this is the type of thing that you're doing, write it down, write it this way. Okay. So think about AI as preparation leverage. If you find yourself in this space, use AI to help leverage your preparation, not replace your preparation. Okay, we're leveraging it for preparation. It does not replace preparation. So if you think about pre-reads, scenario drafts, brief skeletons, so that an even bigger share of your week becomes the judgment that only you can do. All right. So think about that, how you can use AI to prepare yourself more for meetings, etc. All right. So again, I've got a lot more tips on what you can do if you fell in this space and you want ideas on how you can keep your role AI proof. All right. So let me pull this all together here before I open the floor. If I go back through if you go back through the four before lines in your head, every single one described the output, and the four after lines, every single one described a judgment with a consequence attached. All right. That's the entire method in one move. Put your judgment on the page with evidence. The reports, the campaigns, the decks, and AI can increasingly make all of that. It can increasingly make your reports, campaigns, and decks. What it can't make is the call that you made, the room that you read, and the money your decision protected. All right. So that's, again, the move there. Put your judgment on paper with evidence. So the thing I want you to leave with is deliverables age, decisions don't. Deliverables age, decisions don't. Visibility, again, is not going to fix the problem for you. Legible, evidenced judgment is what fixes it for you. If you feel like your role is AI vulnerable, being known is lovely. Being nameable is defensible, and they're not the same thing. And only one of them survives the budget season. All right. So let me say that again. Being known, being visible is great, but being named is defensible. Can people name the decisions you've made? Do people attribute decisions to you? Do you claim the decisions you've made yourself, the judgment calls you've made, right? So it's not the same thing. And only one of those people gets saved during budget season. So just thinking about that for future you. So I've got a couple ideas on some things you can make before tomorrow. Some moves you can make before tomorrow. If you haven't taken the quiz yet, please do, and then send it on to one woman, because we want to get more data in here. This is very interesting and helpful information that we want to help more people uncover and discover about themselves. So if you can take it and send it to someone else, please do. We're offering a free resume review. So take us up on that, because we want to go through this with you. If you came through this webinar or are re-watching this webinar, we can show you befores and afters that you might consider for your resume. And then finally, reposition yourself before someone else decides to reposition you for you. All right. This is what we do all day long, and we can help you with that if that's something that you're not sure how to do it. So we are going to share tomorrow every link. We're going to share the data that we have here. We'll get this all over to you if you were registered for the webinar, so you can take this and look at this for yourself. And again, if any of this brought a question, I'm happy to answer anything right now if you've got it. Otherwise, you can email me. I'm at kate@getherhired.com. Do we have any questions coming in, team?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. Well, I know it was a lot of information and possibly overwhelming. because there was zero sugar on all of this. And I appreciate you coming and listening. And thank you for spending an hour of your actual week here. If you came over from Caroline Holden's Minnesota Women in AI community, thank you. If you came from Cecilia Stanton Adams community, thank you for coming. Um, and this recording and the links and the quiz, again, will be in your inbox tomorrow. The quiz is going to stay open because we want to get more results so that the data set keeps growing. Please, please send it on to one woman who needs it. We would really appreciate your support in that. And again, if there's anything we can help you with, please let us know over here at Get Her Hired. We are excited to be able to share this kind of insight and information with you. There's something about AI as a collaborator. How can I connect with these communities? Okay, so there's a couple of questions that came in. AI as a collaborator, that's when you're going to be in an AI proof position. And so what you're doing there is you're leveling up from a chat into syncing different systems together to create workflows and processes. So if you right now, the way you're using AI is mostly related to your own individual work, think about how your team could utilize that together. So leveling up how the AI is used in your process. That's how AI is the collaborator rather than the creator. Okay. How to connect with these communities? Wonderful question. There's Minnesota Women in AI that is run by Carolyn Holden. And then Cecilia, what's the best way to connect with the communities that you're involved in? Because I know you have a few different ones.
In terms of, say it again.
So if I know you shared this through one of your
Oh,
networks.
yes, the
Yeah.
women's group as well as my LinkedIn.
Okay. So connecting, and Cecilia, if you want to drop that in the chat, we had a question
Yes.
on that just so people can connect with you on LinkedIn. Because there's
Awesome.
always great communities, more people to get in touch with on this. And, let's not do this alone. Let's not do this alone. Let's normalize that this is a little uncomfortable and that we're learning here. And again, the data may change tomorrow. The capabilities in AI may change tomorrow, and everything we talked about right now doesn't matter anymore. But it matters right now. And instead of feeling helpless or hopeless, let's help each other and help ourselves by taking some new actions. So if you've got any questions, please reach out to us at Get Her Hired. And thanks for joining today. I really appreciate you sitting through this and all these new ideas and me trying to figure out how to present the data. This is new for me too. All right. Take care. I wish you great success always. Thank you. Bye bye.